Hey, good morning or afternoon, everyone. This is Mark here, and today I'm going to take you through, some of the tools that are available within Business Central to assist with fulfilling your orders. And what we're going to do is focus on, this order fulfillment worksheet in the middle here, but there's a lot that goes into, sort of your fulfillment chain once those orders in your system. So where we start typically is with the order fulfillment worksheet. And what that allows you to do is really, well, exactly what it says there. It allows you to automate the pick creation. So it goes in and it figures out exactly what I can ship today, what's available to pick, everything else, and then generates those pick documents for me, either interactively, so I can go in and, manually go and choose what I want to do, or I can have it run in an automated fashion, right? So we're just constantly generating pick tickets, or in the morning it generates them for me or whatever I need. Now, once we've generated those pick documents, what we do is we send it out to the warehouse. And of course, you could do paper-based picking and all that kind of stuff if you like, but we have two solutions to help you pick and manage that inventory in the warehouse. One is the WMS Express that I mentioned earlier, so the free app. You go out and do all your picking and everything with it. And Warehouse Insight, which is the subscription-based version. So that's sort of the full version of the warehouse management solution. It allows you to do a ton more stuff. And, you can customize and do all sorts of fun stuff with it. It's got a lot of goodies in it. But either way, we, order fulfillment worksheet, we generate picks. You can use one of these two applications to execute the pick if you want using barcoding. And then once we've picked it, we need to get it out the door to the customer. So from there, we can either go to Order Express. So if all you're doing is domestic parcel stuff, Order Express, great little tool. A few clicks and you've got your shipping labels, everything you need, and out the door it goes. If you need something more comprehensive, that's where Dynamic Ship comes in. So it'll do, any type of shipment, international, package, LTL, whatever you want. It's got a packaging interface, all sorts of things, freight coding, address validation, tons of stuff in there to manage your shipping department. So if you're using something like World Ship or Ship Manager or all those sorts of things, you don't need them anymore. You would just go to Dynamic Ship. It manages all your shipping right from within Business Central. All right. So let's talk about these guys in a little more detail. So specifically the order fulfillment worksheet. Let's start with that guy. So the idea behind the order fulfillment worksheet is it answers the question that every shipping manager or warehouse supervisor has when they walk in the door in the morning. What can I ship today? Right? What orders came in? What inventory do I have? How do I match them up? What can I get out the door today in the most efficient manner possible? So Order Fulfillment Worksheet answers that question, and it does that by calculating, again, what inventory you have, what availability you have. So not just what inventory you have, but what's actually available in the warehouse to pick. So it figures that out, both for sales orders and transfer orders. So if you're in a distribution center, it does that as well. And then can automatically create those picks for me, as it says at the bottom. There's a whole bunch of goodies you can do in there. Now, I've been talking about picks, right? So warehouse picks or inventory picks. But if you're in a facility that doesn't use picks, maybe you just print the picking list by order, like a report off the sales order. You can do that. You don't need to have the warehouse functionality enabled to use Order Fulfillment Worksheet. And one of the things that's not on here is the backorder manager, because it also inherently manages back orders. So if you've got an outstanding order there that's a back order that, you're waiting for the PO to be received before we ship it out, it takes care of that for you. And it eliminates, clipboards with stacks of paper or somebody manually looking at reports, all those sorts of things. It just does it all automatically. So really, if you have anybody in your organization that regularly says, I need to figure out what's going out today or what can I ship today, you need to do Order Fulfillment Worksheet. Simple as that. All right. Now, again, once we picked it, once we generate the picks or figured out what we're going to execute on today, you can use WMS Express and Warehouse Insight to go ahead and use those mobile devices to scan the barcodes and do those picks. Okay, so I won't get into the details here, but you get the general idea. We're going to barcode everything. We're going to scan it. We're going to reduce errors. We're going to reduce all those sorts of things to help get the stuff out the door. Once we picked it, we go out to the shipping side. Again, Order Express, completely free. Dynamic Ship is a subscription. And both allow you to go out and get your labels and everything directly from the carriers with the costs and all of that kind of stuff right in Business Central and generate, get your product out the door with the least hassle possible Okay, so Dynamic Ship's got a bunch of good stuff. If you need more information about either of these, you can contact us. I'll give you some info at the end. Or you can check out our videos on the website. If you go to shippingfordynamics.com, you'll see a whole bunch of stuff you can look at to figure out what these things do. And there's lots of videos and things like that as well. All right, now enough babbling on the PowerPoint at least. Now you're going to get babbling on the demo. But we're going to go in and actually have a look at how this stuff works. So I'm going to jump into Business Central here real quick. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with the Order Fulfillment Worksheet because we just walked into the warehouse first thing in the morning, and we need to go in and say, hey, what's happening? Like, what orders came in overnight off the website, or, what didn't I fulfill yesterday? Like, what do I need to get out today? So I'm going to hit that guy, and it's going to go in. And for my last location, it's going to come in and run a calculation. And this is giving me a little bit of timing information about how long it took to do it. So, basically 1/5 of a second to calculate my availability for all the orders I have in the system today. Now, granted, this isn't a lot of orders. This is maybe a few hundred sales lines. We've got people using this with literally hundreds of thousands of sales lines. But once you get to maybe 10,000 sales lines, it might take half a minute to load, something like that. So you may want to do something else. You may not want it to calculate immediately when we open. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you some of the setup options that we have available. So if you go to the Order Fulfillment Worksheet setup, I'm just going to give you a little bit of the things that you can do to set it up. So it's not really much you need to set up. Whether you want to be prompted to combine shipments, a few other things, whether you wanted to use a selected order or prompt you or whatever. But Bernie, I'll put up a prompt and ask how you want to process the orders that you have selected. And here's this launch mode where this tells us every time I open the fulfillment worksheet, it's going to load all the orders and do that calculation for us. But you can actually just say load the orders, but don't do the calculations, because what that allows us to do is load the orders, set some filters, and then calculate. So instead of calculating for 100,000 sales lines, maybe now I'm only calculating for 10,000 sales lines. Or we can just open it blank. You can set your filters and then load the orders and then run and control it that way, right? So if you have less than 10,000 sales lines at a time, load and calculate is probably all you'd ever use, and away you go. A couple other little things here as we get into talking about the how to allocate inventory, or how it determines what inventory you have available. We've got some options here. So you can exclude blocked bins. So if you've blocked a bin, hey, we don't want to be able to pick out of that bin. So you would say, yes, exclude any inventory that's in a blocked bin. And by the way, it will use the bin types in Business Central. So if you've got advanced warehousing turned on, like the directed put away and pick, and you flagged a bin as like QC hold or basically a non-pickable bin, it won't look at that inventory. It'll say you don't have that inventory available to pick because it's in a non-pickable bin. So it does that automatically, but you could also then go and say, don't look at any blocked bins because we can't really pick out of that. And then this blocked item tracking says, hey, if I blocked a lot number or a serial number, don't include that in the availability as well. So if you're using our quality inspector application or you've manually gone in and blocked a lot number, we won't include that inventory as it being available to pick because you've blocked it. And we can even take it further and say, you know what, don't pick it if it's going to expire within the next week or 2 weeks or whatever it happens to be. So don't pick older inventory if we don't want, and it'll exclude that. Okay. And there is the option, with an extension, with some modifications, to do this on a customer specific basis. So some customers will accept, stuff that's expiring in a week. Other customers need 3-week expiry dates, those sorts of things. But this is a global flag by default that will control, whether we include close to expired inventory in the calculations. All right, so that's a little bit of the setup. But, the defaults, well, actually, I was going to turn off the timing thing because I don't really need it. I don't really want it. Let's just turn that off so it just doesn't show us how long it takes to load, because all of my stuff is, a few hundred sales lines and it loads pretty much instantly. But now let's talk about what those calculations actually did. So what we've got in here is it's come in, and this location here doesn't use any of the warehouse stuff. So you'll see all the crate picks and everything's grayed out. I'm going to show you a location that does use picks and everything else. But this is a very simple one, right? Very simple location, doesn't use inventory picks or warehouse picks. And what it's done is it's gone in and it's looked at all my sales orders and transfer orders if I have any in here. And it's told me what I can actually ship today. So this first order here, this is a back order, right? This is from like a year ago, and we're still waiting on this product. Well, it says it's not available to ship at all. And down at the bottom, it tells me what's available and not available. And we've got, the fact boxes and everything here that you're used to that show us more detail. I'm just going to hide this because you quite often don't need that. But it tells me exactly what's available to pick. This next order here is fully available to pick. So these two items here, I have enough in the system to pick those. And again, if you're in a warehouse environment, I might have 100 of these things in stock, but I only have 8 available to pick because the other 92 are in, block bin or in receiving, or the lot number's blocked, or whatever we've got set up. It's telling me I've got 8 to pick. And so what it's done is it's now allocated 2 of those to this order. The next order that has this product on it is now only going to have 6 to choose from. So it's doing this dynamic allocation. So as we go down the list, I'm going to have less and less of this inventory to select from until I run out and it says, this item is no longer available to pick. And it's doing that based on the shipment date. So the sort order here is on the shipment date. And so it's calculating the availability based on the oldest orders first. Okay? And that means we're, again, inherently, looking at the back orders first. Our oldest orders are going to get first crack of any new inventory that shows up at our door. Okay? But I don't have to do it by date. I can come in and, do it by any criteria. There's a whole bunch of additional fields you can add. I could do it by, the order amount. Like if I want to do my, highest value orders first, right? If we look at this, it says, this is completely unavailable. I can't ship it. But if I do the recalculate, which goes in and reallocates everything now based on my new sort order, well, it's still not available, but it may have changed that, right? I might have had this product available based on this new sort order. So again, the default is we come in and it comes in with the earliest ship date, and it calculates out what I have available to ship, and lets me execute, right? Now I'm going to just show you a little bit about how this could work in your environment with the back order stuff, right? So we're expecting this 1925 for this customer. It's a back order. It's still showing up on our list. Nobody's having to maintain this on a clipboard or in a report in Business Central or anything else. Every time I open this guy up, this thing is going to sit here at the top because it's my oldest order. When that inventory comes in, let's have a look at what happens. So I'm going to close that out. We're just going to go into our purchase orders here real quick. Now I happen to have a purchase order for that product. Right? So if we come down here, as soon as the purchase order opens up for the first time today, so we've got our purchase order in here for that product. Let's just post that order here real quick. So we're going to go in and post it, and we're going to receive that product in stock. Yeah. Probably should run through it once before we warm up Business Central. Okay, so we posted that order. Now when we come back into our Order Fulfillment Worksheet, guess what's going to happen? It's not rocket magic, but guess what? Our back order, because we've received that product, is now fully available to ship, and I can actually ship that out. Okay. Now I'm going to switch over to a warehouse location because this is, more likely to be used in a warehouse location. So this is a directed pick and put away location. So you can see now it's saying we can create picks, and we can also go in and, I'll get into this in a bit. We can do the movement worksheet and things like that as well in here. But here it's telling me that, I've got the same thing. I've got this first order is fully available to ship. These guys here, the pick is already being created for. So it shows up on the list, pick created. It lets me drill down into the picks and everything else from here and see what's going on. There's no quantity needed because we've fully created. The pick is fully handling everything on here. If we look at something like this, where it says partially available and partial allocation, what that means is we can partially ship this order. And for the items that we can partially ship, some of them are only partially allocated. And what that means, if we look down here at this guy, it's showing us that we need 12. We're only able to allocate 5 of those to this order. So that's where we get that partial allocation. So you can use these to determine what you want to ship, what you don't want to ship, things like that. And you can also go in and reallocate. If I decide, I don't want 5 to go in this order. I'm going to put these 5 on a different order. I can zero that out, and we can change that allocation here on the fly and give that 5 to a different order if we like, right? And we can figure that out just by, if we want to find out which other orders have this item on it, well, one of the things you can do is open up the fact box, and it'll show you, our total requirements and all that kind of stuff on here. But what I can do is this advanced line filter. So if I just come in here and I say, I want to look for a specific item. Oh, sorry. That's typed in the wrong box there. For this specific item, and you can save these filters as well. So if you reuse a common filter, like you're looking for just to assemble to order items or something like that or whatever, you can filter transfer orders and sales order lines here. And this last option is whether we want to show everything on that order or just the item that we're filtering to. So all I'm doing with this is saying, what other orders have this 1996-S on it? And we'll be able to see kind of how this allocation stuff works out. So when I hit that, I'm going to not save that advanced filter. And now we can see this first one again. We've got 8 available to pick in the warehouse. Again, we might have 100 in stock, but the other 92 aren't available. And we've allocated 6 to this order. Well, the next order, guess how many we have available down here, 1996-S. We now only have 2 available because we allocated 6 to the first order. So it's doing that dynamic allocation so that we never try and create a pick for something that we can't ship. And now we get to this guy and we've got none available, right? So that's how it does that allocation automatically and almost instantly when you have a few hundred sales lines in the system. So that's basically how it works, right? And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to clear up this line filter just so we see all the orders again. We'll talk really briefly about the views as well. So let's say, well, actually, before I do that, we'll talk about this guy here where, it's partially available and it says move required. So what that means is if we look down at this, we've got this guy here, which we can fully allocate, right? So we can actually ship 11 of these guys that are required. We have 9 available to pick, and we have 2 available to move. So what that's saying is, we need to move 2 of these out of a picking bin out of a non-picking bin into our picking bin so we can actually ship it. And so in situations like this, you can actually go in and have it automatically go to the movement worksheet so we can create movements to move this product into a picking area so we can ship it out. Okay. And then I think way down at the bottom here, I've got a transfer order. Same idea. This one also needs a movement, but we support transfer orders and sales orders in the system. Okay. Now, back to the views. Actually, if I scroll down, I've got a ton of stuff that's not available. I'm also looking at stuff that has to ship, way into the future, potentially, things like that. So you may want to create views to limit what you see. Now, in Standard Business Central, you can't by default sort on more than one column at a time, at least not yet. So I can sort on shipment date and I can sort on value or customer filter, those sorts of things. These views allow you to sort on more than one column and also apply a saved view to a worksheet. So what that allows us to do is I can come in here. I've got a bunch of views I've created, very similar to the views you would see, let's say in an item list or something like that, where you can go in and create a view in a dropdown. Well, in worksheet pages of Business Central, you don't have that capability. So we've got this custom view thing here. So I can come in here and I could set one of these as the default view. So when we're doing that defer calculation, I can load up all the orders, apply a default view to it, and then do the calculations on it to reduce the number of lines I'm dealing with. But again, if you've got 10,000 sales lines that you need to evaluate every day, that's fine. That'll, it's like 30 seconds or a minute to load at most, to load that amount of data. But what this allows me to do is I could say, hey, yeah, I want to see all data, or I just want to see the availability for the next 3 days. So this is just looking at all the orders that I have to ship within the next 3 days instead of all my orders. And it's filtered down to only the ones that are available to ship. Okay. So I can use that. And now, once I've got the stuff that I want to ship within the next few days, or maybe just today or whatever, I can go ahead and I can choose any of these. I can multi-select, and then I can say, create my picks, right? So this guy has a warehouse shipment already. These other guys don't have warehouse shipments. I can say, create pick. And here in the settings, you can have it default to the select order so it never prompts you. In this case, I have it prompting. I'm just going to do my selected order, or I could do all the orders that are in this view that I've got. I'll just do the selected one for now. And what it will do, and sorry, on my setup here, I'm just going to indicate the worksheet batch that I want to use. Normally that defaults in. I'm not sure why it wasn't there, but let's go in and create the picks. And I'm going to do the selected order. And what that's going to do is it's going to go in and it's going to give me what looks like the standard Business Central create pick screen here. And it's pretty close. The only difference is I have the ability to sort of print the pick as well. So if I create 10 pick documents, it'll print 10 pick documents. But in here, I can go in and set all the sort of standard things, like if I want to have one pick per customer, or, I want to do wave picking per zone, or, I want to include up to 6 sales orders on a pick, or I only want to have order-to-order picking, those sorts of things. I can do all that kind of stuff here. Hit OK, and it's going to go ahead, and it's going to create my warehouse shipment and my warehouse pick for me. Now, the interesting thing here is that order disappeared. It's gone. And the reason it's gone is because the view I have is only filtering on what's available. And guess what happened to that order that I just created the pick for? Well, it is no longer in status of available. It's in the status of pick created. It's ready to go. That pick was created, optionally printed out, and it's available on the handhelds now to go and pick. And it's created the warehouse shipment for me automatically as well. If I select multiple orders, I can actually combine all those orders onto a single warehouse shipment. So that's another option in the setup, where we combine all the orders that I select into a single shipment and create as many picks as we need based on that shipment. All of those sorts of things are possible as well. Yeah, if I look at this, and it might have created multiple picks, right? That order might have resulted in 3 or 4 or 5 different picks. In this case, obviously, I only have the one pick that gets created, and it's, again, not rocket magic here. We've got the pick we'd expect for that particular order, and then we execute that pick and ship it out the door. And then, of course, once it's fully picked and shipped and everything, it'll disappear off this view entirely. Okay, so that's basically how it works. Now, this is sort of our, actually, let me mention one last thing on this before I jump into something else. The split allocation is more for distribution centers or B2B type sales, where if I've got 10 stores and each store wants 100 of an item, and I've only got 100 in stock, well, I could fulfill one store, right? By default, it'll say, okay, we got the store, this order needs 100, we've got 100, we'll assign it to that, and the other 9 stores get nothing. If we use split allocation, what it'll do is it'll split up that available inventory across those 10 stores. So nobody gets everything they want, but everybody gets something. So that does it equal allocation, but there are events in there that if you wanted to do it, by order value or some other criteria, you could extend the solution to split that allocation any way you like. All right. Now, back to this. Now, I've done everything interactively, right? I've come in here and I can, again, if I want to create a bunch of picks, I can multi-select these guys and hit create picks. It'll create picks for all those. And I can, come in here and evaluate sort of how I want to manage this and do it all interactive. And it's pretty quick and easy, right? If I come in the morning and deal with all the picks, all the orders that came in overnight, generate them and, check back every hour or something like that to see what's happened, I can do that. But another option is to actually do it in the job queue. So everything I've done manually there or interactively there, I can also do in the job queue. So let's have a look at this entry here. And what this one does, between 7 and 3:30, it runs every half hour. So every half hour, we're going to run this thing. And what it's going to do, if we come in here, is it's going to look at anything that's going to ship within the next 2 days, right? So anything up to today plus 2 days. So that's a standard Business Central, date formula thing, where it's anything up to today plus 2 days is what we're looking at. So we're not looking at stuff that's supposed to ship next month or whatever, just in the next couple of days. That's a released sales order that's fully available. It's going to automatically generate the picks for me, right? Per warehouse document, up to 20 pick lines, and print them out. So every half hour, any new orders that have come in or any new purchase orders that have received that now allow me to fully ship an order, the picks automatically get created, and in this case, automatically get printed out. Of course, if you're using Warehouse Insight or WMS Express, you might want to go paperless. You turn that off, and then those picks would just be available on the handhelds now to execute. Okay? So this is all completely automated. Every half hour or 10 minutes or whatever you want to set this to, it goes out, does that evaluation, and generates those picks for me automatically. Okay. Another one is something like this, where it's, it's not running all day, but at the end of the day, at 4 o'clock here, I know the UPS guy shows up at 4:30. So at 4 o'clock, I'm going to do a quick rush pick through the warehouse to get as much as I can out for UPS before the guy shows up. And what that looks like is pretty simple. It's going to say anything that's fully available, that's being shipped by UPS, that has less than 3 items on it. I'm going to generate those picks so that I can get everything I need for UPS out the door before the guy shows up. So you can set up all these types of automated scheduled routines to go in and generate those picks for you automatically. One last thing, actually, since I did mention it, I'm just going to go back in and I'm going to go into my that main location that I had where we did that back order thing. This one doesn't have those picks or anything like that, right? So when it says this is available to pick and ship, there's no picks to be created because I don't have those options turned on in Business Central. What you would do in this case is print that pick instruction. And that's just going to use the report selection for sales to print whatever document you've got defined for your pick ticket for a sales order. In my case, it's going to be one that has a barcode on it so we can, sort of scan that stuff in. So here's my picking list for this thing. It's got a barcode that I can scan, and this is what I need to pick, and away I go. Okay. So again, you can use it in non-warehouse locations. Actually, while I'm there, I'm just going to point one other thing out. A couple of things. That barcode, by the way, that showed up on there, that's because this report is from the barcode generator tool. So that's a free tool. We give you all the source code for the report. So if you just want a simple report, they're the standard documents within Business Central, except we add a barcode to them for you to scan on the handheld. But that barcode generator allows you to add barcodes in a report, anything like that. And up here, this printer that's defined, well, that's coming from our print node connector. So that's a cloud printing capability. So if I hit print here, it would just automatically go to this selected printer because that's the one that's set up as the default for this particular report. Okay, so that's automated printing and barcoding, and those are both free apps that you can get from AppSource from us. All right, now back to Fulfillment Worksheet. It's gone in and automatically calculated out what I can ship. We've created the picks either automatically or interactively, and now we're going to send it out to the warehouse to actually, do that picking and everything else. And I thought it'd be fun. Well, it's fun for me anyway. I thought it'd be fun just to show you what that looks like. So in my hand here, I've got this little scanner. This is a Honeywell CT47, but we can use sort of any type of scanner you want. I just turned off the screen brightness there so you could see it a little better. And here's actually the screen on that. Now this is running WMS Express, and this can run on a phone or a scanner like this if you like. If you use it on a phone, it's got this little dude here. You can drag around on the screen, and when you tap it, it opens up the camera to actually do your barcode scanning. Okay. So anyway, you can use it on a phone if you really want, but a dedicated scanner is good. Now, there are videos on WMS Express on our website that show you how to set it up. It's very quick and easy to set up. But here, what I can do is I can actually start picking against sales orders or, warehouse picks or whatever. If I go into shipping, this is the location. This is my main location. So this is all my sales orders that I have to ship from that main location. And, again, I could scan the barcode that was on the picking list by order that I showed you earlier to load it up, or I could just choose one of these picks and use the menu, or I can just, sort of double tap on that. And it's going to load up that sales order. And now I can just start scanning barcodes to indicate what I picked. Even if I don't have barcodes, I can come in here and say, yeah, I'm just going to tap on this guy and enter the quantity that I'm going to ship without scanning a barcode. So you can actually use this whether or not you have barcodes. But typically, you're going to scan a barcode to indicate where you've picked, and away you go. So I can use this. And again, WMS Express, completely free. Doesn't take long to set up and get working. We can help you with that. Once it's set up, if you've got barcodes on your items, great. You go beep, 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 and you can do all your picking, receiving, inventory counts, all that with this. Even if you don't have barcodes, you can still use it to go out, get your pick list electronically, enter the quantities electronically, all those sorts of things. Now, once I picked it, again, for a full view of how this works or how the full Warehouse Insight application works, go to the website. There's videos, all sorts of stuff you can look at. But now, once I picked it, right, so I've, on the handheld, I've gone out and picked everything. I want to ship this out the door. Typically, on a larger environment, you're going to use dynamic ship because it's cool and it'll do everything you need, right? So you're going to go in there, live in this package worksheet. You can do all your packaging, all your verification of what you're shipping through barcoding, if you like, all that kind of stuff in here. So that's sort of end to end, right? We're going to plan our fulfillment with the Order Fulfillment Worksheet. We're going to use WMS Express potentially, or Warehouse Insight potentially, to scan things, right? So instead of using paper-based picking, we might want to do that electronically. Once we've picked it, we're either going to use Dynamic Ship to package it up, or just Order Ship Express to package it up and get it out the door. Okay? Pretty simple. All right. Now, let's go ahead and dive into that value proposition a little bit. So, for most people that have worked in a warehouse, that looks pretty cool. But really, what we're addressing with these tools is, we're going to manage those back orders automatically. How many times is a back order sat on a shelf or didn't get shipped or whatever because, you're managing on a clipboard or some report that somebody has to review or whatever. And by the time you're ready to ship it, the customer doesn't want it anymore, right? So that can get expensive, right? The effort, like you've got 1,000 orders that came in over e-commerce overnight, or even 100. How do you know what you're going to get out the door? You're going to be running around the warehouse, figuring out whether you have it or not. Like, how do you deal with that? Hours a day. That order fulfillment worksheet will save you hours a day. I've been in warehouses where they got one full-time person doing nothing but trying to figure out what picks to create and things like that. This does it in seconds, right? The visibility into what you're waiting for, right? Like if you've got something that's supposed to ship complete, the order fulfillment worksheet handles that as well. It'll figure out you can't ship this complete, but you could stage these 5 items if you like for that, right? And then the barcodes, right? That validation, making sure that you're able to pick the right product, that you're not picking, this white box instead of that white box because they look the same. You can scan that barcode, verify it. You're not going to make those picking errors anymore. You're not going to make those shipping errors anymore because you're scanning those barcodes, right? All of that. That is worth a ton of money, right? And then, of course, not having to go into WorldShip or some external software or website or whatever to manage that shipping, you can do it right from within Business Central, okay? That's all worth, that's going to save you a ton of money. And so the way we price this, Order Fulfillment Worksheet, it's just $150 a month. You can have 10 people using it if you want. That's all it is. And it's actually, I don't believe it's per location, might even be per company, but $150 a month is what it costs you. No user limits on that. WMS Express free, Ordership Express free. If you want the higher level Warehouse Insight, get a hold of your partner. They'll help you get pricing. It's based on the number of devices that you have in the facility. And Dynamic Ship is based on the number of physical locations you have. And the first location is full price. The rest are heavily discounted. So it's a very cost effective, very cheap actually solution for you for managing your shipping. All right. Now, if you do have additional questions, get a hold of us. I see that a lot of questions did come in, so I'm going to have a look at them in just a second here. But if you do have any additional questions, go to the website, check with your partner if you have, pricing questions, those sorts of things. They should be able to help you out, but if not, we can help you out. Install the trial version of Fulfillment Worksheet off AppSource, and you can play with it and see how it works for you. And let us know if you have any other questions. All right. With that, thanks everybody. It was great chatting with you and answering your questions. Hopefully we will talk again soon.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more great content, and remember to hit that bell icon to stay updated. See you in the next video.